You know, we are just surrounded by products every single day. But have you ever stopped to really think about what separates the ones we absolutely love from the ones that turn out to be, well, a complete and total disaster?
It's a huge question, right? It's the kind of thing that must keep designers and engineers up at night. Because you can have a revolutionary idea, a huge budget, a brilliant team, and still end up with a product that doesn't just flop, it fails in a really, really dangerous way.
I mean, just look at the Takata airbag disaster. This was not some minor glitch. This was a safety device, something designed to save lives that had a fatal flaw hidden inside. The chemical inflators could actually break down over time, basically turning the airbag into a shrapnel bomb. It led to so many deaths and injuries, just a tragic outcome for a product that was meant to protect us.
To understand how something like this can even happen, we need a framework. So think of it like this. Every single product, before it ever reaches your hands, has to pass this series of brutal, unforgiving tests, a trial by fire. We're going to call it the Design Gauntlet. And its survival is what determines success.
So what exactly is this gauntlet testing for? Let's break down the essential pieces that every single designer has to get right if they want their product to actually succeed.
The gauntlet is basically fought in three main stages. First, the product has to connect with us on a human level. Then, it's got to face the harsh, practical realities of the real world. And finally, it has to answer for its impact on the bigger picture.
Let's start with stage 1, the human connection. This is all about the user. And if a product fails here, believe me, nothing else matters.
So the very first test is maybe the most important. Does it actually solve a real problem? See, a successful design isn't just some cool gadget, it has to respond to a genuine need. It needs to fix something, improve something, fill a real gap in people's lives. Without that, it's just a solution looking for a problem.
Now, here we have that classic design challenge, balancing function and aesthetics. Function is simply what the product does. Aesthetics is how it looks, and you absolutely need both. Think about it. If two coffee makers both brew a fantastic cup of coffee, you're probably going to buy the one that looks better on your kitchen counter, right? It's a really delicate balancing act.
Next up is ergonomics. It's a fancy word for a pretty simple idea, the science of designing things for people to actually use. It's all about fitting the product to the person, not forcing the person to adapt to the product. The goal here is simple: comfort, efficiency, and most importantly, safety. If you get this wrong, your product could literally be a pain to use.
This is a perfect example of ergonomics in action. An ergonomic standing desk isn't just a tall table. It's specifically designed with the human body in mind to reduce stress on your back and your neck. It makes you feel better and helps you perform better. That's what good ergonomics is all about.
Okay, so a product has passed the human test. It's useful, it's beautiful, it's comfortable. Great. Now comes stage 2, the practical realities. And let me tell you, this is where so many great ideas meet their end.
The first hurdle is finance, the money test. An idea is one thing, but making it real costs money. A lot of it. You have to pay for research, for all the materials, for manufacturing, and then you have to tell people about it and actually get it to them. If the numbers don't add up at any point, the whole project just dies.
Then there's quality. And this isn't just some vague feeling, it's a real measure of excellence. It means using better materials. It means making something durable. Quality is the reason we're often willing to pay a little bit more for something that we know is going to last.
And critically, there is safety. This isn't just about you, the end user. Designers have a huge ethical and legal responsibility to make sure the workers who make the product are safe too. From the factory floor all the way to your living room, the entire process has to be safe.
All right, on to the final stage of the gauntlet, the bigger picture. A product doesn't exist in a vacuum. It has a long-term impact on our planet, on our society, and a good design has to account for that.
Here you can see two completely opposite philosophies. On one side, you have planned obsolescence. That's designing a product to break or go out of style just so you're forced to buy a new one. On the other side, you have sustainable design, which is all about making things that last, that can be repaired, and that have a tiny environmental footprint. The path a designer chooses here has massive consequences for our planet and for our wallets.
So how do we even measure a product's impact? Well, one of the key tools is a life cycle analysis. You can think of it as an environmental report card for a product. It tracks everything that goes into it and all the waste that comes out from the moment it's created to the moment it's thrown away.
This is basically what that life cycle looks like. It starts at the cradle, sourcing all the raw materials. Then it goes through production, distribution, and of course, you using it. The traditional model ends at the grave, a landfill. But the goal of sustainable design is what's called a cradle-to-cradle model, where at the end of its life, a product's materials are reborn as something new.
So we've made it through all 3 stages of the gauntlet. Now let's see how this all comes together to separate the real triumphs from the tragedies. Let's go all the way back to the Takata airbags. Here's the crucial lesson. They failed because there was this huge gap between the lab tests and the real world. The design just couldn't withstand the practical realities of heat and humidity over a long period of time. It failed a critical stage of the gauntlet. Now let's look at a success story. These agricultural robots, they address a genuine need, helping farmers produce more food in a sustainable way. They use solar power and smart tech to reduce chemical use. They basically survived every stage of the gauntlet. They're useful, they're practical, and they have a positive long-term impact.
So the real takeaway here is this. When you come across a truly well-designed product, it is not magic, and it is definitely not an accident. It's proof. It's proof that that product was thoughtfully and rigorously tested against human needs, practical limits, and its long-term consequences. It survived the gauntlet.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. Just look around the room you're in right now. Pick one object that you think is a design success. Now that you have this framework, can you see why? Which tests did it have to pass? And how did it manage to survive the design gauntlet?